Sounds great. Good luck to both the runners here. They're both starting off.
And I'm sure everyone at this point knows who Louise is. He's pretty much the end-all be-all of X3 at the moment.
Does a pretty good job with all the other X games too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And JP is actually... I believe he said he didn't run this game until he signed up for the tournament, and he's only done 2 complete runs. He has a 46-41.
Yeah, that's a pretty good time.
He doesn't run a game. That's actually a really good time.
We got him going up against Louise, who I believe he has a mid-high 39 at the moment.
He's a 39-39 right now. He is the current world record holder.
Right.
I don't think any percent can go much lower than that as far as the record's concerned.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty hard to do. It's a pretty rough matchup on the first match for JP.
But hey, that's how the seeds play out, so...
Yeah, not much you can do to get around that.
Well, when you're up against Louise, it's kind of, what do I do? Just go do my best.
It's like, well, I better just roll with it, I guess.
So, here they're both climbing up at 0. Getting their Z-Saber ready for the mid-boss, I guess, at the beginning of the stage. Joe.
Oh, Mac. Okay.
You know, I think of the other one, you know. Joe and Mac.
It's like sat there. You practically hear the gears turning in my head.
Who the heck is Joe? So they go back to X and going to take on the boss of the stage, which I don't know his name. Maybe you do.
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's M-A-O-H. Mao, I guess.
Mao.
Mao or Mao the Giant. I mean, mostly everyone's just going to call him the intro boss because, I mean, he goes down so quick it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He wants to start punching. I mean, that could happen.
Floats and punches. They just stick with using semi-charged shots until I think one of the last shots they do a fully charged.
The usual strat is you want to start with a full charge shot and then use green shots from then on until the last shot is another full charge. You don't have to do the full charge on the last one. You can save that for in case he punches you, because you can just use the time that you're in iframes to charge. You have a little bit of leeway with that.
So, I know that X1 and X2 had the dash busters, the dash lemons. They were pretty effective against bosses and enemies alike. What about this game?
This game, unfortunately, they do not work on bosses. They are there. They do work on small enemies, such as the helots and the little like purple cannon dudes that you'll see all over here. They do work on them, just all normal enemies. They don't work on bosses for whatever reason. I guess they must have finally caught it in development.
They just wanted people to use the charge shot more often.
Which I wish dash shots worked on bosses. It would make things much easier in this game.
Silent boss. You see Louise over here getting his gap jumps in on the ladders. A little bit easier to do on this stage than other stages. Any percent run, but still a bit of a trick thing.
This game in general, its ladders are about 5 miles wide. It's a little easier to get gaps in X3 compared to X2 and especially X1.
Right, X1 has really tough ones. So you notice any percent you can just go with as low as you want, but they get the boots here because, well, you can up dash as well as side dash in midair, which is going to be very helpful for some tricks later on.
I believe the task for any percent actually does not get the boots, but that's the task. The task just may just do the low percent climb.
Well, yeah, the task
climb later. Which I believe the biggest reason to get the boots is for the saber climb far later in the run. As well as there are a few little small things here and there with air dash that make it a lot more helpful.
Yeah, just giving a little bit of extra leverage on getting above Buffalo's sight box, I guess. I don't know what you would call that here.
I'm not even sure what to call it. This glitch is so strange. I'm not even 100% sure like how it would even work programming-wise. As far as I know, it's jumping above him like that it tricks him into thinking you're on the other side of him for some reason. So he'll just start ramming himself into the wall, and you can just stand there and hammer him.
Mm-hmm.
It does take a little bit of timing, but it's not too hard to do.
Mm-hmm. So from Blizzard Buffalo, you get the Frost Shield weapon, which is going to be very effective on some mini bosses and be used in a good number of tricks here.
Another little note about Frost Shield is that it is on any enemy, smaller enemy that is on the ground, it actually is a guaranteed HP drop if you kill an enemy with it.
Yeah, it'll be used, I think, probably before the elevator skip or the climb.
So for newer runners of the game, if you get like a sub tank or something, that's a very good tool. Just fill it very quickly.
Mm-hmm. So you'll notice these doors they're going through here, the mid-stage doors, don't have anyone right now, but they will later on in the run.
Nice big part of RNG, unfortunately, in 100% runs that can really screw you. So you'll get a look at them once they beat the Seahorse.
Yeah, it's not too big of a deal in any percent.
Yeah, really the only reason it's a big deal is because of Seahorse and 100%, but you get Seahorse done second before it's a problem,
So Louise went with the Frost Shield method and doing the quick kill on the mini-boss. On the mini-bosses, most of the mini-bosses, I think maybe all of them, don't have any invulnerability frames after getting hit. And so you can just spam weapons right away.
The only mid-boss that has iframes that function correctly, or function at all, is the Saw Wheel and Hornet stage.
Mm-hmm.
That one you actually do have to time your shots with acid. All the other ones, though, like Rhino's mid especially, is a good example. You can just kill them in a couple of seconds just by mashing Buster on them.
So we see here Louise is going for the quick kill on Seahorse, and he got it just fine.
I forget what the exact frame number is, but it does depend on how high you hit him with the initial shot. But if you hit Seahorse with his weakness, for whatever reason, the latter chunk of his iframes just don't work. You can just hit him every single frame and give damage to him, which you'll see them just mash him down within just a couple of seconds very quickly.
Yeah, I think it varies because depending on how high you hit Seahorse with the Frost Shield, that'll increase, I guess, his vulnerability frames.
The higher you get the initial shot off with him that stuns him, the longer the iframes are, or the longer the opportunity you have to mash him down for damage.
Speaking of stuns, you'll notice a lot of bosses have iframes that are much longer when you use their weakness on them. So,
they're like 2 or 3 times longer as opposed to just hitting with a Buster.
Mm-hmm.
But most bosses, if you have a chance, you want to start off, if you use the weakness on them at least, you want to start off with a Buster shot, at least in Mavericks.
Yeah.
Beetle are a good example of that. Because the iframes are just so much shorter and it saves a good little chunk of time.
Mm-hmm. So they're both, well, one of them's headed to Tunnel Rhino. I think the other one, did he go to Tunnel Rhino?
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Which, Rhino is probably the most dangerous stage, I would say, of the Mavericks, just because everything just absolutely hits you like a tank.
Mm-hmm. A lot of things in this game hit you like a
good
tank.
Example, just look at JP right there. He got hit once and almost half his health is gone already.
Mm-hmm. So in stages 3 through 5 at the mid-boss door, you have a chance of fighting Bit. It's random for the most part, as far as I can tell. And his weakness is, in this case, is Frost Shield, and you don't want to finish him off with Frost Shield, otherwise you have a long explosion to deal with there.
Around 12 seconds or so you'll lose just from the explosion, and if you end up killing both Bit and Bite with their weakness, you'll have to fight a much, much harder boss in Doppler 1.
Definitely much lengthier, too.
You never, ever want to fight the Press Disposer in Doppler 1. Trust me.
Yeah. So we see Luis starting off. Oh, no, he's not the boss yet. He's doing the mini-boss here, which you just buster spam, get in their hitbox, and you just hope that they
hop up on his bottom half and just go to town.
Hope he doesn't fly
a little
up.
bit of trouble.
Yeah,
Oh,
JP
he actually got knocked off.
wasn't able to stay on the cart, and now he's dealing with the boss. But yeah, this guy also has no invulnerability frames.
Yeah, his iframes do not work, or if they were ever there to begin with. At this point, I'm honestly not even sure if they even did that on purpose or if that's just a glitch.
Or maybe they had a glitch when they tried to fix the iframes. I don't know.
Screw it, it's not a glitch, it's a feature.
So, JP's going in with low health.
Oh dear. Rhino is definitely the worst place to die. There is a bit of a thing with the Rhino. Not only does it send you 50 years back in his stage, but if you die on his stage, it actually unlocks his full AI. So he has more attacks if you die on his stage.
Uses the drills more there. So
as opposed, he'll just do more jukes. He can use the drills on you. But a good example, Luis's screen, he didn't die, so he just rams back and forth. You can still juke, but it's far easier.
Yeah. So because JP died right after the mini boss, he got sent back to a checkpoint that was clear back near the bit door there, the mid-boss door. And so now he's got to deal with that again. He's having trouble on this mini-boss here.
This is pretty... Oh my goodness gracious, JP. That was very close. Oh boy, that boulder saved his life.
Bosses in this game can tend to 2-hit or 3-hit KO you in 90%, so it's a pretty dangerous category if you're not familiar with boss patterns.
Well, yeah, most bosses, even on contact, do at least 4 damage. Certain ones, like Bit, for instance, on body contact only does, I believe, 2 damage in any percent without the armor.
Yeah.
But the orbs he throws do, I think, 4 or 6. I think it's 6. So if he starts throwing orbs at you in his fight, you generally just want to rush over to him and bonk into his body and use the iframes there.
Right. JP rushing through this section again here, see if he makes it.
If I were in... Ooh, that was a weird little kick there. If I were in his position, I would... Well, he got past all of it, but I would honestly get behind one of those drill tanks and ice it to get a health drop at least.
Yeah.
I believe he might game over if he dies again, which...
Yeah, I think he's on his last life, and he's got just 1 bar left. Having
to do half of Rhino's stage is one thing, but doing his entire stage over again... yeah, I forgot to. He has his AI.
He's got the full AI there, so looks like he'll be starting it over. Luis, on the other hand, making use of the... what is Rhino's weapon called again? It's just call it drill.
Just drills, yeah.
When you shoot it and you dash through enemies, the hitbox is momentarily removed, and so you can use that to dash through a lot of the stages without having to jump and dodge over so much.
It makes the exit in any percent for Catfish's stage very, very much easier. Actually,
so here Luis was fighting Tiger, and his weakness is Spinning Blade, which is Crawfish's weapon. But
you don't ever want to use that because 5 years of iframes per hit.
Plus, you also want to have his ray, his weapon, before I think it's Crawfish's stage, because that's when people normally go to Vile.
So Tiger's a bit of a variable in this. You can kind of just move him around as long as you do him before Crawfish. You're good to go. I believe sometimes Luis, when he was grinding the game, actually did do Tiger second just to get the RNG out of the way, because if he starts giving you a lot of dashes, you can really just murder every run you ever do.
So you see the drill really coming in handy here, because the stage has a lot of unblockable, can't really move around a lot of the enemies here quickly.
Stage and Beetle are where you're going to see the drill used a lot.
Yeah. So it looks like JP's having an easier time with this stage than he did last run. Gonna make it. Looks like he's on pace to make it to Rhino first try. So after continuing, does he still have the AI to deal with?
I'm actually not sure. I've never seen this situation before. And there you see Luis making use of the drills, just dash through most of the enemies.
Be using a lot of drills on Catfish, because that's what you have to do in the latter half of him.
Catfish does have a bit of a... It's kind of RNG based, but he does have a somewhat of a quick kill method on him. Normally what happens is you get him down to half health or below half health, and he'll jump to the middle and go into his desperation attack. But you can actually manipulate him if you get the right pattern into just hopping continuously into the wall. And it's possible to get a fight on him that kills him with using only one drill, which is the fastest method possible.
Yeah.
And I think Luis and Justin are the only people I've seen who've actually gotten a one drill. Luis got a 4 drill here.
4 drills. So the fully charged Buster does the same damage as the drill. So,
yeah, but the drill and the Buster both do 2 damage. So for the first half of that fight, you just want to hit him with full charge shots, because the iframes are much shorter. Although if you do hit him with drills, you can actually just get him into an AI loop, because he'll just jump back and forth constantly. And I'm not exaggerating. Every single boss in this game has an AI loop with their weakness. It is kind of hilarious. They got really lazy.
This game's bosses just have some funky quirks to them.
Like every single boss has something wrong with it. It seems like, other than like I think Beetle. He has an AI loop, but I think he's like the only one that doesn't have a glitch.
Didn't mention this before, but the mini boss in Tiger stage, five ice shields take him down, and you can get him on the first cycle pretty often.
You can one cycle him. It is somewhat precise, but as long as you jump fairly quickly and just get the 2 first shots out, you can mash him down with that first cycle very quickly.
So stages 6 through 8 in your run, whatever stages you pick, the mid-boss, you have a chance of fighting Bite, who is weak to the drill here. Now, the drills keep going on constantly, and Luis wants to make sure that he either uses it up, make sure the last hit is a Buster shot, or he wants to pause the game and switch to Buster that way.
Luis actually has it worked out to where he can just go through without any pause, without having to pause to weapon swap.
Definitely faster to not pause. So one of the 3 stages you can access this little area here. I don't know if you call it just falling trash place or whatnot.
Just Vile stage.
Vile stage.
Really the best way to find it.
But yeah, one of the 3 stages is Crawfish's, which is the fastest one to get to. I can't remember what the other 2 stages are because nobody ever goes there anyway.
Yeah, I think it's Catfish and I think Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think it's Buffalo. I'm actually not sure.
So, reason you want to fight Vile now, rather than opposed to in stage 2 of the Doppler stages, is to get access to the Z-Saber. Otherwise, if you don't destroy him here, keyword destroy, you'll have to fight him in stage 2.
He's actually having a little bit of trouble.
He's got 1 hit left on him.
Ooh, that's not good.
So you want to have plenty of weapon energy on the Ray there.
Well, thankfully, much like the ice weapon, Acid also does the same exact thing, but with ammo drops. Any enemy killed on the ground is a guaranteed ammo drop with Acid.
Similar to X2 and the Crystal Snail weapon there. You can
Oh,
get
is
two
that
drops.
guaranteed drop? I actually did not know that.
Believe it is anyway. Someone will
Certainly
correct
seems
me
like
if
it
I'm
is
wrong,
when I
I'm
think
sure.
about it.
So Vile, try number 2. JP took care of Tiger there, which on the Tiger fight you don't want to use a lot of charge shots unless he's doing an attack. Otherwise he just straight up blocks it.
Usually what you want to do is, not Vile, Tiger. They have vaguely similar names. Not really. What you want to do, Tiger, is mash out around 5 lemons. And his iframes are kind of glitched. Again, that wonderful thing where you can kind of get 2 damage with lemons on him really fast. And then while he's in the middle of shooting out his ray splasher from his tail, you can actually just use that time to hit him with a full charge shot. If you try to use a charge shot on him at any other time, he'll just raise his claws and block it.
So this explosion is intended, even though it is a little bit long. Just need to finish him off with the ray there.
You want to kill Vile with his weakness and make sure he actually dies and explodes, because that gives you access to the saber later on. Which, I mean, I don't even need to say that. That's probably the most important item in the game.
If nobody's familiar with the saber, you'll see later on why it's really good to have on hand.
It's, especially in any percent, is very broken.
What is his second weakness, Viles? I mean, there's the ray and...
It is Crawfish's weapon. It actually does count as a weakness.
That's right.
In the wonderful X Collection version of the game, the fastest way through that in the glitched category is to go to Buffalo and then Crawfish.
Such a good version.
That's such
Hey, it got the fastest time, so... For those who don't know, people are playing this on the Super Nintendo version, or the SFC version of this game, because playing on the PlayStation version is pretty much a completely different category.
It'll make you hate yourself.
That too.
It's almost a completely different game. Like
Yeah.
the physics and everything are completely different in it.
So we got the crawfish fight here.
Making very quick work of him.
Yeah. So there's this way you can kill him. Basically, you hit him with Triad Thunder, and has like 2 seconds of vulnerability during the iframes, where you can just hit him
You can hit
constantly.
him. You can hit him every single frame.
But you want to make sure that you don't. After you hit him, he'll start attacking immediately. So Louise was jumping there to try to manipulate that,
You can
so that he
usually
wouldn't
what
get
you
a
wanna
direct
do
hit
is
while shooting.
dash forward, hit him with Triad Thunder, and then dash back and jump and kick off the wall. That'll bait him into throwing his claw diagonally up, so you can just pop down and start mashing him. And if you're really good at mashing, you can get him in 2 cycles like Louise did.
In the 100% run, I think they used the charge Thunder, I believe.
Yeah, and 100% you have to kind of delay the first hit, but you can just hit him with the Triad Thunder and then use the charged Triad Thunder immediately afterward, and it will pretty much just one-shot him.
Yeah, every hit of the shockwave does damage, so...
Yeah, he pretty much dies within a couple of seconds.
Ow.
Oh, you careful there, JP. What are you doing?
Yeah. So that thing that Bite puts on the wall, it's like a reverse gravity pusher. So you have to really stick to the wall before you jump off of it.
It's pretty much like a big magnet, and it will constantly push you away from the wall. And Bite actually does have another secondary weakness. His is Neon Splasher.
I think both Bit and Bite have secondary weaknesses. Just whatever your preference is, I guess.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. I actually don't remember what Bits is, though. I want to say it's the S-Blades from Crawfish, but I'm not 100% sure.
So here we've got Gravity Hopper. Just doing his thing.
Yeah, he's this is a pretty good example of X3 boss design. You hit them with a weakness, they do the same thing over and over again.
Gravity Beetle does have a thing where he can go invulnerable, but the Splasher does bypass that. So
Yeah,
no worries there.
thankfully Ray Splasher does cancel that out, but it can really hurt later on in the refights when you have to use the saber on him.
Mm-hmm.
He can waste a pretty good chunk of time doing that.
JP doing okay with the Vile fight. He's got to the second phase with half his health intact.
One thing to note about the Vile fight is the usual strategy is to hit him with 4 full charge shots, and when he's in his mech form, and then finish him off with, you should have just enough ammo to kill the mech. Oh.
But if you die, you'll keep your ammo that you used up, unless you game over. So
I'm not sure if JP actually knows about the acid farming trick. So.
does well, whether he does or doesn't, looks like he's not going to bother. He's just moving on up.
Which I would assume he might just go to kill the mech with just the Buster now to conserve ammo.
So this is the only mini boss I think that has iframes.
Yeah, he's the only one as far as I remember that has like actual functioning iframes.
The nice thing about the acid though is you can either shoot it straight or you hold down while using it. I think it just drops down, so it's
yeah, you can
pretty easy.
control its movement with up and down, which makes that fight pretty interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. So I can't remember. How do you get the? I think it's like a crate dropper.
If you don't kill Beetle before Hornet, then the air fort will still be active within the game, and that'll cause a big ship to spawn right before Bite's door back there, which will waste a lot of time, like well over a minute, I think. Where it'll just keep dropping crates over and over again.
And that's it, just crates.
And yeah, there's nothing else there with it. It's just crates.
So here we have Blast Hornet. His weakness is actually the gravity well, but he also has a secondary weakness that doesn't result in iframes, which is the spinning blade. It's Crawfish's weapon.
For almost all the bosses, or if not all the bosses, period, at least the Mavericks, Spinning Blade actually is technically a weakness. It does 2 damage, but it's only because both blades are hitting at the exact same time. I'm probably wrong on that, but I want to say that's actually a thing.
I never tried it out. Fortunately, JP got Vile down, so just has to worry about escaping. Now, what happens if you die during the escape?
I think it just starts you right back at right after the Vile door, if I remember correctly.
That's good.
So you don't have to fight Vile again. Once he's dead, he's dead.
So Luis finished off the 8 Mavericks with a really good time. Probably around 28 there, looks like. Going into the Doppler stages here.
And now is where the game pretty much gets almost impossible for a lot of newer runners. Because everything in the Doppler stages hits like a truck. It's pretty much like Rhino stage, but extended to a stupid degree. Spikes everywhere. Spikes that move too, which is awful.
They just jump down on you.
How can we make spikes worse? Yeah, make them chase the player. Okay. Thanks.
Speaking of spikes, we got the mini boss here, the Walker, I guess.
His name actually is D-Rex something. It has numbers behind it, but it is like a D-Rex model, the same as from Sigma 3 from X1.
After you kill this mini boss, it forces you into a walk. So you want to be as far behind him as possible. You just stop in place and you just walk rather than dash to 0.
Thankfully, it's one of its weaknesses. It has a couple of weaknesses, but one of them is the ice shot, where you can just set it up and dash over to the right and let it hit it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing to note about the boss coming up is it is a very dangerous boss in 8%, because every shot, its saber 2-shots you, and if he grabs you, it's an immediate 1-shot kill.
Yeah, if you're grabbed, you're dead.
And so Luis is at low enough health now that he actually can't take a single hit from either the saber or getting grabbed.
Saber's pretty easy to dodge, but the grab can be a little tricky for first-time players.
In my experience, for whatever reason, when I'm dashing under the sabers, it has a real bad tendency to drop my jump inputs, so I just kind of end up dashing into his face and dying. It's not a lot of fun when that happens.
I bet.
When he throws his fist to grab you, you actually can just jump over to the left wall there and kick right over it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say you might be able to dash under it, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
If you can, it's very risky.
Yeah.
So here in Gravity Beetle stage, you see the dash boots being put to good use. Same with Doppler too, both using the up dash to get past a lot of stuff. Otherwise, that elevator moves really slow in Gravity Beetle stage.
Oh boy, yeah. And now you see Louise is switching to 0, which you have to use in order to get the saber. You do have to kill Vile with his weakness, at least one of his weaknesses, and you have to switch to 0 and fight the mosquito boss with 0 and kill it. It will then fly down like that. And there is RNG with that mosquito. It can just sit there and hump you. It is infuriating. Absolutely infuriating when it happens.
Just shakes there uncontrollably for like ever.
I don't remember exactly what it is, but he has like, I think it's something like 30 or 40 instances of RNG.
Mm-hmm.
Where like every notch he can move away or to 0. And it's just like the most insane amount of RNG you could ever find. But thankfully, it doesn't really waste that much time.
X3 programming, that's what it boils down to. So Louise has got the saber now, which not only is it a really powerful weapon, but if you switch your weapon while you're using the saber midair, you get an extra dash there you can do. So he's going to do that to damage boost. Looks like he got it. Second try.
That's the big reason why you really want to get the boots to 8%, is it allows you to do that, among many other things. Which the saber climb does save somewhere between 50 seconds and a minute over just like riding the snails, so it is absolutely essential that you learn to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're an idiot like me and you get the double dash chip.
Now, this boss here, I mean, bosses at this point are pretty trivialized.
Yeah.
After this point, unless you get hit. I know there's like an explosion skip at some point. You can do an 100%, maybe any percent, but don't know what's behind that.
No one really knows exactly how that works. It has something to do, I believe, with the helots, the enemies that follow you up on the elevator back there with the snails.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fairly sure, I'm probably remembering wrong, but it has something to do with overloading the sprite limit, because you can't get the explosion skip with anything other than the saber's beam that shoots out when you have the buster upgrade.
That makes sense.
If you hit him directly with the saber, it's not going to work. And it seems to work more if you do a vertical dash after you hit him with the beam too.
Makes sense.
Just the more sprites you can have on screen, the better. The better chance it seems like you're going to get it.
Yeah, that seems to be a common theme. The more sprites you have, the better chance you have at breaking the game.
Yeah,
sort of deal.
Especially with this one.
Yeah. So first boss in the boss rush is Hornet. He's closest, and after that, it's just, I guess, a matter of preference. but he's going to be using. Yeah, he's going to be using the saber.
Is switching off of the saber. He's weapon swapping off of it as soon as he swings it. That allows you to start charging up another saber even quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And the Buffalo fight right there is a pretty good example of just how broken the saber is in any percent over any other category.
Definitely.
You just get it charged so quick.
2 saber shots any boss in this game. And you'll notice that when he swings it, sometimes he'll be swinging it from behind. That's just a quicker way of picking him out.
Oh, and the saber.
You want to explain the seahorse?
Seahorse and crawfish both do have unique quick kills in any percent, where you can just use the saber to just swing straight through their through their glitched iframes and immediately one-shot them with it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you can't do that with Tiger, which would be really nice if you could.
It looks like he draws out the block when he does the charge shot there, which leaves him a little vulnerable afterwards. Guess there's not really much to say. That thing that Luis lands on afterwards is a weapon or health dropper. You shoot at it, it drops one of the two.
There's no guaranteed way to get anything of that other than the only thing that's guaranteed is if you hit it with a saber, it will give you a 1-up.
Mm-hmm. That instantly destroys it too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that immediately makes it blow up. In my experience, it seems like if you use Triad Thunder on it, it does tend to drop large health drops more often than not, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
There's no guaranteed drops with that thing outside of the 1-ups with the saber.
Mm-hmm. So, this fight with Tunnel Rhino, whether or not you got the full AI in the stage, you do get it in this.
Yeah, he always has his full AI here. And one thing to note about the catfish fight earlier is you never ever want to hit him with anything other than a direct saber. Because if he goes into his desperation mode, he's going to waste a boatload of time before he's vulnerable to be hit again.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure when you're charging, you do not accidentally shoot him with anything. Looks like JP is going to go ahead and farm a little bit of health here.
Yeah, JP's coming up on the Doppler 1 boss, which is the get grabbed, you die boss.
One thing to probably mention about how Luis is using the saber there is if you notice, he's actually turning away from the bosses when he's hitting them with it, and that's because the saber's hitbox, or when it can actually hit people, is active the moment he starts swinging it, which starts from behind X.
Yeah.
So the quickest way to hit enemies with it is to actually swing when you're facing away from them. Good example of a quick kill right there on Crawfish. See how quick it was.
No iframe, so every one of those saber slashes, piece of that saber slash just goes right through him. Ugh.
I'm not sure if he has. He should have enough health for the quick kill on Doppler, which you'll see in just a second. Which, in any percent, is particularly dangerous because, I mean, he can kill you pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a hard boss, but he hits like a truck. Just like everything.
Just like everything.
Oh
no!
And that's what happens when you get grabbed.
Get hit twice, actually.
Did
Show the
fire
second
off
hit there.
his initial shot there. That's to bait out Doppler's recharge shield there. If you shoot him while he has that little green field up, you'll actually refill his health instead of hurting him.
Mm-hmm. So Luis is moving on to the final stage here, which is a couple of Sigma fights followed by a climb. See how well he does with it.
Which I've lost PBs to that lava. Never underestimate the lava.
Yeah.
That is when it gets you.
I've seen blind racers they finally beat Sigma only to be ousted out by the lava climb. And it's just heartbreaking to watch.
Oh boy, it's not good when it happens. It just makes you not want to ever play the game again.
So much like every other boss with the Z-Saber, he goes down in 2 hits.
And Sigma goes down very quick if you know the best method of killing him.
Yeah. Now, the trick with Sigma, he's still not that much easy. He is easier because it takes a lot less time to kill, but he's still pretty difficult because you can still get 2-shot by him or hit by the missiles and pretty much destroyed.
You can only take... Every single attack he does takes off 8 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Except for when he jumps in midair, which you'll never see it from Luis, because he'll never let him hop and float there in the air like that.
Yeah.
But if he fires a shot while he's hovering in the middle of the screen, and it's down to the right or down to the left in diagonal directions, they do 2 damage to you for some reason before they hit the wall. I'm not sure why. Other than it's just X3. Nothing. Oh, he got grabbed. Wait, how do you grab on that?
And then the punch comes here.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about that. You just
no way to survive that in any percent unless you have like a couple. I think 2 hearts at least, and maybe even need more than that.
So Luis gets above Sigma's hit here, just to.
Luis with a very solid time, considering he took a death on Vile.
GG to Luis. Gets the win.
Ooh, he's just not having a good time with this boss.
Yeah. You're grabbed, you're dead. Unless, I guess another way you could avoid that is if you have a sub-tank on you that you use mid-attack.
As someone in chat pointed out, Luis switched to acid to rep Brazil. Had to get the proper colors up.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, JP. He was practicing this earlier and was doing fine. What happened, man?
It's the pressure of racing Luis. Just... You face
I gotta give it to him. He's not quitting.
Yeah, he wants to stop, but it looks like he's gonna stick around. Try to finish this. I mean, the more you can finish the run, the better practice you get, I guess.
Yeah, it's always worth it to just finish your runs, no matter how bad they are. Just to, especially for any percent, because you really want the end-game practice.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavericks aren't too bad to learn any percent, but the end game is really, really, really difficult to start to get past.
Yeah, once you get the Z-Saber, it goes a little easier, but knowing those boss patterns...
Those first 2 stages are pretty rough to learn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the regular enemies in Doppler 2 are a pain to deal with as well.
I think they also 2-shot you if you direct ball.
That sounds right.
Oh, goodness. The big red dudes actually, they take off 4 damage with a beam, and if you direct body contact them, it does 8, I believe. So you can get 2-shot by them. Which is, there's a theme going there with X3.
You see that attack? That'll 2-shot you.
Yeah.
Looks like JP's making use of the Frost Shield to get some health drops right before the boss here.
Which, one thing to note,
we've got...
does 8 damage is how much the final form of Sigma in this game does on body contact. There are normal enemies that do that much damage to X also on body contact. So it kind of makes you wonder what on earth were they thinking when they made these enemies.
They just wanted a tougher game, because X2 and X1 were so easy.
They wanted to actively make the game hate the player. What I'm convinced of. Like, this game has become sentient. They didn't program it to do that much damage, but it decided, I don't like these people. I need to die.
You want no iframes during the bosses? You can get hit by a truck.
And you can just get 2-shot by every enemy in the game. Fair trade-off. You get to go fast, but you got to be careful.
Looks like he's made it past, so he's moving on and
finally made it
all
past
in better spirits now.
And I believe JP actually has said he does know how to do the saber climb. Which, I mean, he's got that over me. I can't do that.
And he started this, what, a couple weeks ago when he joined the tournament?
Yeah. Unless I heard him wrong. That's a pretty quick time to just learn something like that.
Yeah, it's a really stressful climb. Just have to make sure you get hit by the enemies.
Which
keep those iframes.
I've had Louise and several other top runners swear to me that the 100% climb is harder, but man, I'm just not seeing it.
Well, you got less damage you have to worry about, but you also have more of those neon jumps to get in.
I don't know, the any percent climb, it just seems like unapproachably hard for me personally. Oh no, please don't die here.
Mosquito troll.
Just please bait him down. Okay.
Ooh, mosquito turned red, and he's just hovering and hovering.
He's getting a little freaky here. Oh my god, I have never seen him do it that long.
Sheesh.
Wow, that was like a solid, what, 3 seconds or more on him.
Uh-huh. So, I don't know what the mosquito boss does. I know he sucks up things from the ground and they change his color, but...
I think depending on what color he gets, it changes his attacks. I actually don't even know what the attacks are because usually he's dead so fast. You never get a chance to see it. I honestly want to play the game through and not kill him immediately just to see. The only one I can be sure of is, I remember as a kid, the blue is lightning somehow, I think. I might be wrong.
Huh. So, I think JP wants to pick up some health before he makes the climb here.
Need a pretty good amount of health to do the climb. No, a little bit of a hiccup there. Ooh, that was very close.
Looks like he's doing okay.
Oh yeah, he nailed that pretty much first try. Wow. Very nice.
So, despite, the difference in times between these players, JP learning that trick within the time that he did is very impressive.
Yeah. Just having a 46 with that skip. I believe he said in his PB he actually did die to Sigma as well, so it's really a better run than even a 46.
Mm-hmm.
And Zombie Tom Hanks with a very good name for Mosquito, Molesquito. I'm changing my split name for that. It was very impressive that he was able to even just learn the game and learn that climb, especially in such a short time.
I think that was like second try, but first try was hardly any time.
Yeah, he just like the first vert dash just dropped. And one thing to note about Hornet and his rush attack like that, very nice kill on him actually. You do need to be careful not to get hit by his rush attack, where he just charges at you. That does do about 8 damage as well. Now, shocker, he 2-shots you.
Gee. And then you got bosses that are pretty brutal, and then you got this guy. So is Luis happy, or is he unhappy about the time he got?
I'm honestly not sure. The picture's cracking me up, though.
So yeah.
That looks like angry acceptance.
Fine. I'll take this time. Whatever.
I got this time, but I'm not happy about it.
Catfish here again. Make sure that you get the second shot off while he's not going for the middle.
As long as he has exactly half health and no less, you should never jump to the middle. If he does jump to the middle, he screwed up. Damn picture.
So
you want to be
Beetle
careful
showing off.
with Beetle as well, as you just noticed. Those orbs.
Can they two-shot you?
I don't believe they can two-shot you, they can three-shot you. I believe they do 6 damage, not 8. Which that's honestly kind of shocking.
Oh good, he got a follow.
Oh, he looks like he got a new follower.
Anyway,
Beetlejuice is making his cameo in this tournament.
So I think JP was expecting another boss there. Because he had the thunder all ready to go. And
He was probably
Rhino
expecting
appears.
the crawfish then.
yeah. Yeah, give JP a good follow here just to get that notification come up more often.
Actually, not sure if he doesn't look, he got it.
Yeah, hit pretty good.
Crawfish does have a frame perfect glitch that is very wonderful and funny when it happens, even if it's kind of infuriating. How did that only do 1 damage? What? What is this game?
Maybe the game was being
If
merciful to him.
There is a glitch with Crawfish that if you hit Crawfish with Triad Thunder on the exact same frame that he grabs you, you will kind of soft lock the game. You can get out of it though. I've had him hold me up in the air like that, just like glitched floating there doing nothing for about 30 to 40 seconds before, but other times he's immediately knocked me out of it.
Looks like he's having a bit of trouble manipulating his attack here.
I'm actually not
Just
sure
feels
what
almost-
he's going for here.
Yeah. Just jumping a little too early or a little too late. That Crawfish just does the straight shot there. So is he on his last life? I think he's on his last life.
Oh boy, I hope not. Just saber him, man. For the love of God and all that is holy. There you go.
That boy. So I think he's got like
Stop reading the chat.
3 more bosses in this rush.
Michael V.D. Linden. X does like people pinching his nipples. Well, I mean, sure.
So you mentioned that Thunder has a good chance of getting the energy out. It seemed to work pretty well for him.
It seems to do it more often than not, but I have gotten ammo drops off of it.
I don't even. Does he have enough health?
Oh wow.
I was like, that looks a little high. And
A single health.
he got him, just total troll.
Pretty sure this is his last Maverick here. Which it's arguably the worst of the bunch. Since he's the only one that can actually actively fight back against your sabers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear, you'd never want to get hit with that. And this is
What
why
a tiger!
sucks. This is why Tiger sucks, and he will always suck. I hate him.
There we go.
There you go.
So he's got a little bit of health. There is a big health drop right before Doppler, but
However, it is possible to die in this next hallway, which, okay, he went ahead and got
he's
a
not
big
taking
health.
any chances.
Yeah, see, he got ammo right there from it too.
He wants to finish this run.
Getting through all of these lasers without taking damage for whatever reason is extremely rare. I've done it like 3 times, and I've been running this game for almost 4 years.
Yeah, this frames are just weird on
And
that.
they do 2 damage a pop each hit. So at the health he was at, you'd have to be really careful.
So he's got, I think, going his last life going into Doppler, but Doppler isn't too threatening. I mean, probably can two-shot you like every other boss, but
you don't do that. Please tell me that's not a game over. Oh boy.
he's done.
Oh yeah, he did.
I understand that.
Okay, JP has gone ahead and just forfeited out of the race. I do not blame him.
Yeah, neither do I. Well done by JP though, just making that climb the way he did and pushing through as much as he did.
Pretty much perfectly. That's rough, man.
So you see the difficulties in X3 now evident in JP's stream, and if you ever run this game, good luck.
And Louise's stream is currently showing an image that basically sums up speedrunning Mega Man X3 perfectly. That's going to be your face the entire time you're running this game.
Yeah. Guess if you want a Super Nintendo X game, play X3, because why would you play X1 and X2?
The face that just says, I hate this, but I subject myself to it every day.
Well, I think that about does it. So there's no more X3 races today, but there is currently a Pokemon race going on in Speed Gaming 2.
The next race is tomorrow at 5 p.m. It is another JP game. JP versus Darren Bile is at 5 p.m. tomorrow Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Be sure to tune in if you want to watch some more X3. Otherwise, refer to the schedule for any other events going on. Thanks for watching.
Dunwolf X7 is never. Please do not burn to the ground.